Thank you for joining me for the vignettes from Peak Solutions, ACE, Advanced Individual Workshops. That's a terrible title, but I really was at loss at what to call this group of workshops. Let me put this up here, and maybe then you will begin to understand where I was going and the uniqueness of advanced ACE courses. These are all individual courses. They are not in a series. I have the ACE 1 through 7, which is, it builds from the ACE 1 to teaching people about what is ACE. Each one of these two talking about some strategies, beginning strategies to use with children that struggle in trauma. Each one of these 10 workshops, I will explain the videos in a second, are going to talk about ACE for sure, but they each have their own platform that they stand on. For instance, Mindset, We Are a Family. This was, and I'm so honored and humbled. Every year I go to conferences, workshop conferences that contain a huge amount of platforms of people that come to speak, and I come to listen, either virtual or in person, to learn so I can speak to my audience here and ATN, Attachment Trauma Network, happens to be one of these national conferences. This particular year it was held in Dallas, and I did able to attend by virtual. They asked me to present Mindset We Are Family during the conference. I was blown away, I was excited, and I offered this as one of my 90-minute to 2-hour workshop. Building a family culture in your classroom. It stems off from Mindset We Are a Family, but it's how to help educators build that family culture. Hand in hand, accept the challenge. I've had the honor for the last 3 years of being asked to speak at the annual conference for the School of Psychologists for the state of Washington. And Hand in Hand, Accept the Challenge is one of those workshops that they asked me to present. It's about building not just a classroom trauma-informed, it's about building an entire school district to becoming trauma-informed and the steps that need to take place. It takes a village to build resilience. This is an amazing little workshop. I attended and was honored to attend in a conference, a gentleman named Rodney Walker. And this is about his idea of village to build resilience in our children. The next 4, Circle of Courage, what we can learn from the iceberg. The iceberg speaks to the BIPs, and FBA and BIP with iceberg DNA. All 4 of these, plus Hand in Hand, have all been asked for and shared with at the School of Psychologists annual conference each year. Circle of Courage is a Native American mindset, and I had the honor of years ago back in the Midwest teaching with this mindset, and I was thrilled to see it be mentioned at a updated workshop conference just about a couple years ago, and I thought it's still alive and well, and we need to be thinking about the benefits that it shares with everyone for dealing with children that struggle. What can we learn from an iceberg? I use the iceberg theme for the rest of these. This is about building trauma-informed FBAs, not the traditional. This is about building, once we have the trauma-informed FBAs, I want a trauma-informed BIP, again with the lessons from the iceberg. And finally, this one really can't be a 90-minute workshop. There's too much information in it. It's literally about providing templates to the audience on a trauma-informed FBA and BIP and having them work with seeing how the school psychologists, the case managers, how they can work and begin to implement that back with their school. With Itness and the dashboard, I'll let you remain intrigued by that, but With Itness is a classroom management technique created by Jacob Coonan years ago, back in the 70s. Classroom management is such a dry, boring word. I like to use with itness, and I'll leave you intrigued about what that dashboard is all about. And it will continue here, Hear Me, See Me, via the dashboard, about connecting with your students using this technology. And finally, there will be 4 trauma videos, one at each setting, that talk and share beautiful ideas about trauma. Each of the videos are about an hour and 15 minutes, and then we always follow it up with a discussion session afterwards in order to talk about what did we learn from these beautiful documentaries. I'm going to go ahead and start. We'll be moving through these slides very at a quick pace, so that if you need to pause the music, please do so, because I'm trying to get through all 10 of these. And then also we'll stop the music at this point, and we will watch the 4 trailers. Mr. Bach with a flute sonata is going to entertain you in the background while you are looking at each individual workshop. Thank you and enjoy. Grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. right, I'm going to stop the music right now. Hopefully, at any time you can email, text, or call me if you have questions about those 10 ACE advanced individual workshops that you may have. Please reach out to me and connect so I can answer any questions that you have. Each one of them have a very different theme, but also a very connected theme. Here are the trailers, and I have had the honor of watching every one of these movies in full, and they really speak to all educators. It's amazing still to today the number of educators, people that are working with children, whether you're in the public school setting, the private school setting, or in Boys and Girls Club setting, whatever setting you are, that are not aware of adverse childhood experiences. They're not aware of ACE. And therefore, the children that are really having extreme difficulty in their classroom setting, in their setting, they're not being able to offer and support these children as they need to be supported. I'm blown away every year when somebody I begin a conversation about ACE, and about 5 minutes into it, an educator raises their hand and says, "Can you tell me what ACE stands for?" That wakes me up. I slow down, and we do teach and explain. Paper Tigers. It was filmed right here in Washington, in the Walla Walla area. Paper Tigers is a powerful video. It does talk about introducing the faculty to unconditional love for all of their students, gen ed and special ed. Unconditional love. That's tough. It's tough to put into one's mindset. But if putting that into one educator's mindset can help lower one suspension, one expulsion from school, it's well worth it. This next one, Resilience, the Biology of Stress and the Science of Hope. I love that ending statement, going after this like a bear. I don't want the study, the learning about trauma and its effects on children to be just a splash in the pan for educators, for people working with children. It needs to be in our mindset. So it is just happening. We are aware of trauma and we know how to help the students. We are educators. We need to know how to help these children. This next video, I just saw this trailer. I just saw this video this past year. Amazing. It is about, as we found out in Resilience, the effects of trauma are lifelong within the body, lifelong within the mind. The sooner we can help a child when they are younger, we may not be able to take the trauma away, but we will help them when they are little to be able to connect and relate to good, healthy people. This particular woman that you will meet in Wrestling Ghost was a child of trauma. You will see in the trailer her mother and what happened to her, and therefore what happened to her child. This young lady did not have the support as she grew up from educators that understood trauma, and the impact on her mental development is profound because now she herself is a mom. It is truly a very powerful movie. And think of your colleagues that you go to work with and share your workday with. Many of our colleagues are children of ACE. Many of our colleagues are carrying a paper bag in their backpack, or carrying a backpack that is full of past memories and impacts and effects from trauma. This last one, Healing Neen. Listen, it is about an adult who has lived through trauma. This young woman was a child of ACE, sadly went through the rest of her young adult life living the results of being transgenerational affected. But she found help, she found support, and it's all about that with our children that are struggling and living through trauma. It's about helping them as soon as possible so that they don't experience lives like this, so they don't experience mental damage like in Wrestling Ghost, so they develop resilience, and so they experience unconditional love. Thank you so much for listening to this longest vignette, but it does cover a great deal of information, and it does represent probably my number one passion as I continue to still work and meet with educators and school districts around the country to help them individually understand the impact they have on children. Thank you so very much. Have a beautiful day. Again, if you need to contact me with your questions or concerns, please do so. I'm easy to find.